Hey guys, how's it going? This is TheVideoGamer64 slash Mr. Arcade Retro Gamer 64 here. In this video, I'm going to be showing my entire music cassette collection of 2018. Last time I bought some music cassette tapes was sometime last month. Went to the Goodwill with my friend Casey, and we had a phenomenal time. And yeah. So in this video, like I said, it's going to be my entire music cassette collection of 2018. And I apologize for the quality of this video if any of you can't see it perfectly, like the albums and stuff that I have on cassette. But it's going to be way better quality than last year's, guaranteed, because you could barely see them because it was so dark in my room. But this time I'm filming in my living room. But anyways, guys, let's get started. First one I just pulled out is Sammy Kershaw, Haunted Heart. One of the last albums I bought on cassette this year. And I love this album, Haunted Heart. It's a damn good album. I highly recommend this. By the way, guys, if this video reaches over 20 minutes in length, I'm not going to film it on Mr. Arcade. I'm not going to upload it on Mr. Arcade Retro Gamer 64 channel on VidLii. But either way, it's going on the TheVideoGamer64 channel. So, anyway, Lionel Richie, Dancing in the Ceiling. On the Ceiling. Pretty good album. I love this album. Okay. Next one is Frank Sinatra, Duets. Pretty good album right here. No doubt about that. Next we have the rock and roll era in 1954 through 1955. So there we go. Next we got Kenny G, Breathless. He's okay. Okay. Next we have rock and roll era 1960. Next we have Willie Nelson, The Best of Willie. The case is messed up, but I got it for like a quarter, so got a good deal on that. But the game, not the game. I'm used to saying games on this channel, but the cassette works, so that's the main thing that matters. Next we have Elvis Costello's Spike album. This was one of my cousin James's album that passed away back in 2009. Rest in peace, James. Next we have Starship, No Protection, it says. Pretty good album. If I remember right, on this album, Nothing's Going to Stop Us Now is going to be it's on this album. Let me check. Yep. Next we have Alabama's Mountain Music and Alabama, My Home's in Alabama. Only 2 songs on this cassette, but found it interesting, so I figured I would get it. Oh, I have it upside down. So I think that's pretty cool. Got that for 50 cents. For 2 songs. Nat King Cole, $1 Million Memories. Pretty good album. Yeah, most of these cassette tapes range from 25 cents to $1 that I got it for. Anyway, Trace Atkins, More says. But yeah, I have fun hunting these down. It's easy to find them in like garage sales, yard sales, flea markets, and stuff like that. Next we have the rock and roll era, 1959. Next we have one of the greatest rock albums of all time, called Bad Company. Bad Company's first album. Damn good album. I love this album so much. It's one of the greatest rock albums of all time. Next we have the Everly Brothers 1957 through 1956 album. And only problem I have with this album is that it didn't work. and I picked it up for $1 at a garage sale, but I'm like, made a mistake, but that's alright. If it worked, I would have been happy, but oh well. Next we have Jeff Foxworthy. You might be a redneck, if. This used to make me laugh my ass off as a kid. I love Jeff Foxworthy. He is a funny comedian. So I'm proud to have this on cassette tape. Next we have Patsy Cline. It says the legendary Patsy Cline. One of my favorite singers. I remember me and my grandpa used to listen to her all the time before he died. Damn good album of Patsy Cline's. Next we have Randy Travis, Always and Forever, another singer he liked, and I like him too. He's a good singer. Next we have Neil Young, Decade. I love Neil Young's music. He's a pretty good singer, no doubt about that. Next we have top 10 songs of all time plus Star Spangled Banner. Yesterday was Veterans Day, and I forgot to say Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans that have served and are currently serving. But anyway, this is the top 10 songs of all time plus Star Spangled Banner. I love that song, Star Spangled Banner. Represents our country, United States of America. Okay, next we have Liberace Remembered Volume 1. I got many Liberace albums. For me not being I like some of his songs, but for me, I'm not really a huge fan of him. But you figure many Liberace albums I have, I would be a big fan of them. But I found it in a lot one time, so I said I ain't gonna sell it or whatever. Anyway, we got 1945, Your Hit Parade 1945. And that's where it says it right there. And I apologize for that camera changing color all of a sudden. Next we have Roger Williams, The Best Of. Pretty good. Moon Over Miami. Now this is very good. I like this one. Here's another Liberace album. It says 18 Hits Liberace Volume 2, All-Time Greatest Hits. Like I said, I like some of his songs, but I'm not the biggest fan of them. I'm not saying he's a bad singer, which I'm definitely not saying that. I'm just saying I'm not a big fan of him. Anyway, next is Barbra Streisand with Barry Gibb right there from the Bee Gees. Next we have Ike and Tina Turner. It says Proud Mary and Other Hits. Next we have the Greatest Hits Various. It has Alabama, The Judds, Earl Thomas Conley, Ronnie Milsap, Dolly Parton, Waylon Jennings, Eddie Raven, Newton, Sylvia Restless, and Hart. Now this is awesome album. I love when multiple artists in like one cassette tape comes in it. All in one cassette tape. I love it. Next we have Freddie White Sings Irish and Irish American Favorites. I love Irish music. It's beautiful music in my opinion. Next we have, can you take a guess what this is? Answer is Grateful Dead, In the Dark. Pretty good album. This is one of my cousin James's albums before he passed away. And his mom gave me some of his cassette tapes, and that meant a lot to me. Next we have Jackson Browne, Hold Out. I thought it says Sold Out at first, but it says Hold Out. Next we have Another Volume 1 this time. Okay, Liberace Volume 1 All-Time Greatest Hits. Next we have Eric Clapton's Journeyman album. / Journeyman. And, oh, my eye was itching. Anyway, I love Eric Clapton, one of the greatest guitarists of all time. I love Eric Clapton. Next we got 1958, the rock and roll era. Love that kind of era of music from the 50s. Next we got 1961, the rock and roll era. Next we have another rock and roll era of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Hits from 1962 through 1967. One of my favorite bands of all time. I love Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. They're pretty awesome. Very awesome. Next we have Alabama, The Closer You Get. I love Alabama. They're one of my favorite country bands of all time. Next we have The Best of Andy Williams. Love Andy Williams. He's an awesome singer. Sad he died. Next we have Kenny Chesney. Everywhere We Go, it says. Right there. I love Kenny Chesney's music. The older music of his. I remember some of the older songs of his. Anyway, we got Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Yes, baby, I said it. We got Dark Side of the Moon. Look how beautiful that album is. Love it. One of the greatest albums of all time. Next we have Winona Judd, which is her first album. This was also one of the last ones I picked up of this year. Next we have Top Gun soundtrack, original motion picture soundtrack. I love Top Gun the movie, and I love the songs in the movie. Highway to Danger Zone, you know that one, like Highway to the Danger Zone. I had to do it. Anyway, the best of Kenny Rogers. That still got me cracked up. Anyway, Oh Pretty Woman, Roy Orbison. One of the greatest singers of all time. He's my top 3 favorite singers of all time. I love Roy Orbison. One of the greatest. Next we have another movie soundtrack called Pure Country, George Strait's album. I love Pure Country the movie, and I love this album. Next we have the Oak Ridge Boys. The Oak Ridge Boys Have Arrived album. I love them. One of the greatest bands of all time. That's country. I love them. Awesome band. Next we have Andy Williams' Christmas Presents. Oh, present, not presents. But anyway, like this album. It's pretty good. Next we have my buddy right here, Merle Haggard. May he rest in peace. It's Merle Haggard, Country Pride. Some of the greatest songs that he ever sung is on this album. Highly recommend all of you to pick it up on any platform you find it on. Next we have The Piano Magic of Floyd Cranmer. I love piano music, so I like him. He's pretty cool. Next we have Christmas Celebration. It has multiple Christmas songs, obviously, on one tape. That is very awesome. I love Christmas music. Now we got Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms. I love that song Walk of Life on this album. One of the best albums on there. I'm trying to think which track. Side 1, number 3, Walk of Life. Love that song. That's my favorite one on that album. Next we got Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. Couldn't Stand the Weather. I love this album. One of the greatest Stevie Ray Vaughan albums, in my opinion. But I love Stevie Ray Vaughan, one of the greatest guitarists of all time. May he rest in peace. Okay, next we got Footloose, the original soundtrack of the Paramount Motion Picture. love Footloose, the movie, and I love the older one, and I love the soundtrack of it. Next we got Frank Sinatra's Greatest Hits, Frank Sinatra's Greatest Hits Volume 2. 2-on-1 album. And you can see that right there. Next we have Icehouse, Measure for Measure. One of the last albums I also got of this year. The Best of ZZ Top. Love that band. Pretty good. I love ZZ Top, one of the greatest rock bands of all time. Piano Gold Volume 1. Haven't listened to this one yet. I know, weird for me not to listen to it. It's kind of weird that I haven't. Next we have Marvin Gaye's Greatest Hits. I love his music. Next we have Tony Bennett MTV Unplugged. I bought this sometime early this year, I think, for 25 cents. Next we have The Piano Magic of Floyd Cramer. Next we have Swing the Mood, Jive Bunny, and the Master Mixers. Haven't listened to this one, I don't think, so I can't say what I think about it. Next we have Glenn Miller Orchestra in Digital Mood. Next we have another Liberace album, As Time Goes By. Next we have Next we have Benson and Hedges Command Performance. Has multiple artists in one. Next we have Burl Ives. Love that singer, he's pretty good. Next we have Classics by Kenny Rogers. Bought this earlier this year for 25 cents. I love Kenny Rogers, good country singer. Next we have the Beach Boys, 1962 through 1967, the rock and roll era. This was one of the tapes I played last year on music cassette when I was showing my entire cassette collection on VidLii. But I love this album. One of the greatest albums I've ever heard of the Beach Boys, and I love so many of their albums. Next we have Listen, It's Christmas, Johnny Mathis. I love Johnny Mathis. I love his Christmas songs. My favorite Christmas song of his is Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas, but my favorite song of all time of his is Chances Are. Next we have Live and More, Donna Summers, or Donna Summer. Trying to get that lamp out of the way of the camera reflection or whatever. Next we have Mario Lanza, You Do Something to Me album. As Time Goes By, 40 Unforgettable Songs of World War II. Love this album. I love anything from the 40s music. I love any 40s music. Next we have the Top 10 Collection, the late 40s. One of the first music cassette tapes I actually got. Long time ago. Next we got Engelbert Humperdinck album. The best of him. Next we have the Best of the Doors, one of the greatest rock bands of all time. I love them. Next we got Ozzy Osbourne, Diary of a Madman, one of the best Ozzy Osbourne albums of all time. Next we got A Jolly Christmas from Frank Sinatra. Love this album as well. And the final one, Clint Black, The Hard Way. I hope all of you enjoyed this entire video of my music cassette collection of 2018. Feel free to subscribe to my TheVideoGamer64 channel and my Mr. Arcade Retro Gamer 64 channel on YouTube, VidLii, and MetaJolt. VideoGamer64 and Miss RK Retro Gamer 64 signing off.